Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Hypersonic 55's Top 10 Films of 2013. Yeah! Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good Christmas. This is the Hypersonic 55, back in the world of, YouTube and stuff. And today I'm going to give you my top 10 films of 2013. Now, in my opinion, 2013 has been a bit of a questionable year for films. I didn't like nearly as many films this year as I did last year, but hey ho, sometimes you get good films, sometimes you don't, sometimes you get good years, sometimes you get questionable or bad years. But 2013 hasn't been all bad, it's just not been as impressive as its predecessor. But anyway, I constructed a list which was bloody hard to do, by the way, and this list in a way is not really completed, but I feel like I'm going to have to give you this list now, because if I don't, I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs and rack my brain in ways that would just mess me up. So yeah, here is my top 10 films of 2013. Number 10. So starting off this list at number 10 is The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Now, I liked the first Hunger Games film. I thought it was pretty interesting, but in the grand scheme of films that came out in 2012, it didn't really stand out that much. Catching Fire, on the other hand, was a hell of a lot better. I think the direction was a lot better in this film. The story, characters, and visual, cinematography was just a lot better. I liked how Katniss's action from the last film carried on to this one. There was a bigger look at the overall world and the different districts. It was good, it was solid fun, and I thought it was just a vast improvement on the last film. And Jennifer Lawrence is just minty fresh. Number 9. Now at number 9 we have a bit of an unexpected addition to this list in the form of Frozen, the latest CGI Disney film. Now the thing is, I saw a lot of people hyping this film up when it came out in America, just before it came out in the UK, and I thought, can't be that good, it can't be that good. And while it didn't nearly meet the hype that I expected it to, it was still pretty damn good. For a CGI Disney film, this is probably their most impressive one so far. It just had a lot of good story, a lot of good heart, and really cool characters like that Olaf Snowman guy. He was just amazing. And yeah, just visually it was good, the songs were pretty catchy, and overall it was a good animated film, probably the best one I've seen this year. Number 8. Okay, so at number 8 we happen to have Thor: The Dark World. Now, I was a massive fan of Thor in 2011, even though some people weren't. He was probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, pre-Avengers, Phase 1 film. And with this sequel, they brought so much more, atmosphere. They showed more of the 9 realms. It had more of a realistic, tone and, feel to it with the locations and the armor. You got to see more of Thor and Loki's relationship grow, and Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth really just did a spectacular job with their characters. Sure, the film's villain was a bit weak, and there was a bit too much comedy that didn't actually work, but overall for me, Thor: The Dark World was a really unexpectedly good comic book film that had a few more fantasy and sci-fi elements in there that I didn't expect, and a few plot twists that I didn't expect as well. So what, well done Marvel, you're working really well with the Phase 2 films. Number 7. So at number 7 we happen to have Rush, the really awesome F1 racing car film by Ron Howard. It happened to be just a really good insight film into the world of Formula 1, but given a bit more of a dramatic and action-based feel. The 2 leading actors in the film just gave stellar performances. It was really interesting, and for a person that was not really invested in was it F1 like myself, it was just really cool. Sure, there must have been some liberties taken with the original source material, but for me it was one of the better films I saw after the summer ended. Number 6. So at number 6 we happen to have Saving Mr. Banks, the really good, emotional, dramatic film that told the story about how the author of Mary Poppins and Walt Disney, try one more time. So at number 6 we happen to have Saving Mr. Banks, the film about how Walt Disney tried to get the author of the Mary Poppins book to try and adapt it into a live action film that we know and love today. It was a really interesting and dramatic film with a wonderful central performance from Emma Thompson, who was just incredible, and Tom Hanks was great, so was Colin Farrell, and so was Paul Giamatti. Not many people talked about how good Paul Giamatti was in the film. He was awesome. Number 5. Okay, so now we're getting into the top 5. At number 5, we happen to have Gravity, one of the most impressive visual films I have ever seen in the last 10 years, maybe ever in life. Visually, the film was just incredible. There was a wonderful blend of CGI and, like, practical effects from what I'd seen in the behind the scenes footage. It was probably the most realistic depiction of space I've ever seen. The crispness, sharpness, wonderful use of color and cinematography was just maddening. And in IMAX 3D, it was one of the most interactive, scary, and atmospheric films I'd ever seen. The story may be a little bit lacking, but overall it was just incredible. I loved Sandra Bullock in the film, and George Clooney was good as well, and it was probably one of the scariest films I'd ever seen because I hate space, and that was just a really good film. So good. Number 4. So at number 4 we happen to have a slightly controversial entry, but hear me out. My number 4 is Iron Man 3. For me, Iron Man 3 was just a really good time in the cinema. It was a great follow-up from the Avengers. It was action-packed. It had some good story elements, and the characters were wonderful. Robert Downey Jr. is just killing it as Tony Stark these days. And everyone's still talking about the bloody Mandarin thing. Get over it, for the love of Christ. I'm not overly attached to the character. I'm not was it a guy that just hates on a film purely based on one key factor. And it was a very good, plot twist. It was very sneaky. No one saw it coming, and it was gutsy by Marvel. But for me, it paid off. I'm not gonna hate on a film purely based on just one villain, weird reveal or whatever. Iron Man 3 for me was still a really good film, and I enjoyed it. So right now it may seem like I'm a Marvel fanboy because I didn't put Man of Steel in here, which loads of people thought was the best comic book film of the year, but it's my list. What are you gonna do? Number 3. So now we're getting to the top 3, and at number 3 we happen to have The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Now I really liked The Hobbit, the first one from last year. A lot of people just hating on it, just saying, oh, it's not Lord of the Rings, and I'm just like, well, it's not necessarily supposed to be, because this is pre-Lord of the Rings, but I really liked the first one. This one improved on the first film in a good number of ways. It just had a lot better pacing, the action was kick-ass, there was a few more relations to the Lord of the Rings, films that we know and love, and Smaug the Dragon may be the best animated, dragon in existence, or one of the best animated characters in existence ever. It looked incredible, it was scary as hell, and it was voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. He was a beast! My God! It was... it was good, it was good. Number 2. So now we get to our number 2 in the list, which is Now You See Me, a film that I happen to have not too big expectations for. I mean, I saw the trailers and I thought it looked pretty cool, but then I actually watched the film and I was like, you know what, this is bloody smart. It was a very interesting, really well thought out film, which had a few good plot twists I didn't see coming. All the cast were wonderful, and it even held up pretty well second time round. And with a film like that, where you know what's going to happen the second time round, still holds up pretty well, you gotta give it some thumbs up. I thought Now You See Me was pretty good. Number 1. And now for the number 1 spot on my list, I'm obviously going to be giving it to Jurassic Park 3D because it was blatantly the best film I saw this year. And it's old, but it's still bad, man. No, of course it can't be, because that's technically cheating, because the film is 20 years old. But if I could, I'd definitely give it to that. Now, my actual number 1 for this year is Captain Phillips. I thought that film was just one of the best films I've seen in a while in terms of the thriller genre. It was tension based, and every time something was going down with those Somalian pirates, you were just wondering what is going to happen, how are you going to get out of this, mate? Even though in the real life Phillips survived and went on about his life, we don't know how it went down. And sure, this is a film, so there's going to be dramatic liberties taken here and there, but I thought the film was well directed. Paul Greengrass continues to be one of my favorite directors, and it happened to be, for me, one of the best performances I've seen from Tom Hanks. It was so involved and so in depth. He was great, and I just thought the film was so good. Probably the best film I'd seen of the year from that point onwards, and nothing quite has beaten it so far. So yeah, Captain Phillips, great film. If you haven't seen it, take a look. So yeah, that was my list, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed it, man. Like, you know, obviously if you have differing opinions, then yeah, tell me what your list was in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the revolution that is the Hypersonic 55. Check out my blog, check out the Facebook, check out the Twitter, and yeah, just hang around. It's going to be like, you know, some good times of 2014. 2014 is looking like a Batman year for films, and I can't wait to get all over that. So yeah, from the Hypersonic 55, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in 2014. Peace.